Hello, I am going to show you how you can deploy your web application into AWS by using the service AWS Amplify. AWS Amplify is part of the free tier of AWS. It includes 12 months free, 15 GB served per month. So as long as you don't pass this threshold, you won't be paying anything for 12 months. The first thing you need to do is to create a GitHub account if you don't have one, and then create a new repository. Here, you can choose whatever name you want. I have already created my own repository, so I won't be choosing any name. Here you can choose if you want it public or private, and then you will click on Create Repository. Once you have created your repository, you will have to download Git in order to interact with GitHub from your computer. So you will search in Google Git download, and the first page that pops up, you will open it. And depending if you have a Mac machine or Windows machine or Linux machine, you will choose your operating system. And here you will choose whether you have a 64-bit operating system or a 32-bit operating system. So I have a 64 Windows operating system, so I will click on this one. And an executable file will download into your computer. I already have it, so I won't be doing this step, but what you need to do is click on the executing file and follow the steps that your machine tells you. So here you click next on everything and then install. Once you have downloaded Git, I will create a very simple website. So I am in Visual Studio Code, but you can choose whatever editor you like. So here I'm going to create a new file called index.html. And in Visual Studio Code, there's a shortcut that adds a template, a simple HTML into your file. So here we go. Here title, I'm going to change it to AWS website Amplify. And here I'm going to put an h1 tag for my web page in AWS and hit save, and let's visualize it in the browser. So here we go, this is our page. Here is in my computer, it's in the local host, and our goal is to host it in the internet with AWS. The next step is to connect your GitHub repository into your computer. When you created your GitHub repository, GitHub shows you these commands in order to connect your repository to your computer. So what you're going to do is copy these commands with the button right here and go into Visual Studio Code, hit terminal, new terminal, and paste the commands. Once you have entered the commands into the terminal, go back to GitHub. If they were successful, you will see the first commit. If you don't see this, please check that your login is correct in Git in your computer. Now go back to Visual Studio, and what we're going to do is to submit our index.html file into our GitHub repository. So follow along with these commands. Now go back to GitHub, hit refresh, and you will be able to see the index.html file in the repository. Now let's get into the fun part, deploying into AWS by using AWS Amplify. So here, click All Apps, then click New App, Host Web App, click GitHub, then Continue, then authorize Amplify to access your GitHub account. So click GitHub again, Continue, install and authorize, GitHub again, and now here you select the repository. So here we select the web page example AWS tutorial. You will select the branch. Here our branch is the main branch. Then click next. Click next. Here allow AWS Amplify to automatically deploy all files hosted. Click next. Save and deploy. This will take a few minutes, so I'm going to pause the video and come back when it is done. AWS Amplify has finished with the deployment of my application. So here you can access to the URL provided by AWS. And there you go. Now your web application is hosted on the internet. If you want a custom domain for your application, for example, mywebapplication.com or mystore.com, you can follow the steps that AWS Amplify suggests. Here, for example, add a custom domain with a free SSL certificate. So we're almost finished with the tutorial. Congratulations if you make it to this part. And one last thing that I want to show you is that you can deploy changes into your applications to the GitHub repository, and AWS Amplify will automatically deploy the changes. So for example, let's make a quick change. Here I'm going to add an h2 tag. This is a change. I'm going to save it, and again follow along with the commands. Git add dot So here I'm adding a change into the index.html file. So if we go back to GitHub and hit refresh and observe the HTML, we see that the change is deployed. And once it is deployed, it will take the AWS Amplify will deploy the application again into the internet. So I'm going to pause the video and wait. AWS Amplify has already finished handling the deployment for us. Here we see the last commit we did to GitHub, which was named changes to the app. And let's click into this URL. And here we see the changes we made into our HTML code. This is a change and my web page in AWS. So with this, we finish the tutorial. Hope you like it. And please consider subscribing and liking the video, and thank you for watching and take care.